This year marks the 20th anniversary of the annual Litigation Trends Survey. For 2 decades, Norton Rose Fulbright has tracked key trends and benchmarks impacting the litigation landscape, from emerging disputes categories to litigation budgets and developments in legal technology. More than 400 corporate counsel from key commercial sectors in the United States and Canada participated in our 20th anniversary Litigation Trends Survey to weigh in on the litigation outlook for 2025. 82% of respondents experienced at least one lawsuit in 2024. Nuclear verdicts with unexpectedly high jury verdict awards are of increasing concern. Consumer protection, toxic tort, ESG class actions all increased in frequency in 2024. Regulatory proceedings grew substantially in 2024, and the Supreme Court's Chevron decision is expected to add complexity. Our report also highlights the transformative impact of AI on the litigation landscape.
Lawsuits against respondents' organizations held steady, but nearly half expect an increase in 2025. The incidence of antitrust, banking, and finance litigation saw the biggest jumps over the previous year. 80% say it has become more difficult to settle over the last year, citing unwillingness to compromise, high demand, and increasing legal costs. Most U.S. respondents expect verdicts and settlements to increase in 2025.
Regulatory proceedings continue to increase in 2024, with a significant rise in the number of proceedings commenced against organizations. Nearly half expect an uptick in regulatory investigations and proceedings over the next 12 months. The DOJ's new whistleblower program is anticipated to bring additional reports of misconduct, particularly in the technology and retail sectors. The overturning of Chevron may foster more lawsuits across regulated industries, with tech companies most likely anticipating an increase.
Technology, along with food and beverage industry respondents, report the highest exposure to employment and labor disputes. Those expecting an increase cite employee data privacy issues, alongside traditional sources of risk like discrimination and harassment allegations. Only 1 in 3 companies feel very prepared to review and update non-compete agreements following the FTC activity last year.
Environmental, social, and governance initiatives face continued scrutiny from consumers, investors, and regulators alike, deepening the risk of litigation. Respondents expecting their ESG exposure to grow point to both pro-ESG and anti-ESG pressures as among the leading trends contributing to this increase. And more respondents are now focused on ESG risk arising from social concerns heading into 2025.
Cybersecurity and data privacy issues continue to be a challenge for organizations. 79% of respondents expect their exposure to cybersecurity and data privacy disputes to stay the same or grow even more in 2025. These disputes are a particular concern to industries like healthcare and financial services that amass large volumes of highly sensitive data. 73% of respondents support the use of generative AI by outside counsel, recognizing its potential for significant time savings and scalability. Despite the benefits, managing legal risks associated with AI remains a challenge. Most organizations allow the use of free public generative AI tools, but this could be driving additional risk.
Corporate counsel are preparing for heightened exposure to IP disputes with a focus on protecting patents, trademarks, and trade secrets. Our survey highlights the growing importance of strategic IP management to mitigate risks and safeguard innovation. Respondents anticipate that regulatory changes and increased enforcement will contribute to the rise in IP litigation over the next 12 months.
Canada's evolving regulatory landscape shapes several key differences between US and Canadian respondents. Half of Canadian respondents anticipate regulatory investigations and proceedings against their organizations to increase in 2025. Canadian companies saw an increase in cybersecurity and data privacy exposure in 2024. 63% expect changes to the Canadian Competition Act to increase greenwashing claims over the next 12 months.
Class action lawsuits against respondents held steady in 2024. Employment and labor actions, a perennial pain point for organizations, were the most common variety. But there was a significant increase in personal injury cases amongst respondents, jumping to 29% from 16% last year. About half of respondents concerned about class actions in 2025 cited consumer protection as a source. Join us at the annual Litigation Trends Summit on Thursday, January 30th to discuss the latest litigation trends and benchmarks and explore what your organization can do to prepare for the year ahead. And download your copy of the report at litigationtrends.com.